Hello. So I remembered the mic this time. I, uh, I I just got home, like just walked in the door, and I thought that I would just kind of make a quick video. Well, none of my videos are quick, so don't get your hopes up. It's probably gonna be like a 3 hour long video of me ranting and raving and rambling. If you watch any of my other videos, you know what you're about to get into. Um, so I'm just kind of like decompressing right now, and I thought I'd just kind of like express my thoughts while I decompress. So this is my first day, like not going to work. So I uh, I slept in. I don't even remember my alarm going off at like my normal time I get up for work. I don't know if I slept through it or it's really bugging me. Like, let me see. It is still configured to go off, I think. I don't think I changed it. Yeah, it's still enabled. I guess I just turned it off and went back to sleep, and I didn't wake up enough to remember it. Um, I think I woke up sometime around noon and just kind of sat there and laid in bed watching YouTube videos on my TV, and finally got up and just I was like, man, I need to do something today. I need to like get ready for all of this that's going on. But the really big thing that's just the finances are just stressing the hell out of me. I'm sitting here just thinking about like everything that could possibly go wrong. And there's a couple of things up in the air and a couple of things that changed recently that like I need to get the finances figured out. Otherwise, I'm just going to stress really, really hard on it. So that became my agenda for the day was to get some financial questions answered. So I went to my 401k site to figure out because I have an outstanding loan on my 401k. Um, I I took it out whenever the economy was kind of crapping out, just so that like I could. I wanted to take some money out of stocks at my 401k, and whenever you pay back a loan, you're paying back yourself at interest. So I did it as a way of like getting ahead of a financial downturn, of losing money in stocks. Um, I didn't really need the money, so I just basically put it in my checking account, and it's been sitting there ever since. So, but I still have an outstanding loan of like $3,000. So I was curious as to how in the hell that was going to get paid. Like, what would be the situation on it? So I contacted the company, the finance company that manages the 401k, and let them know that I was quitting the company, and asked them like, what's the deal on the monthly payments? Do I need to do a lump sum payoff or like? And they gave me options. They said, well, you can do a lump sum payoff, or you can just pay it out of your um, the money you have in your account, but you would be charged an early. You would be charged normal taxes on it because the 401k is like pre-tax. Whenever if you use that money to pay off that loan, then it would be like taking out an early withdrawal. So you would not only would you get uh, charge normal taxes on that money, but you would also get like the 10% penalty for withdrawing from the a pre-tax account prior to 59 and a half. And the third option was to just make normal payments. And I was like, well, they said, well, after your company processes your, resignation or termination or whatever, um, then I will have an option on my payment page to set a schedule of a monthly payment, and I think I can set it up auto pay. So that's going to work out perfect. I don't really want to do a lump sum. I'm trying to be as liquid as possible, and I'm trying to get skinny financially because I have plenty of money to do what I want to do, and I think everything's going to go great. But I am a plan for the worst kind of person, so I am trying to over plan for this. Uh, and so that was one of the things I did to prepare. And I'm not going to be able to do anything for 2 to 4 weeks on the my 401k thing. But in 2 to 4 weeks, I should have an option to set up some kind of payment plan. And instead of it auto deducting from my checks with my former company, it'll just be like paid out of my checking account. The next thing I did was I sold some stock. I sold about $4,000 in stock. So I just lost out on 4 weeks of vacation that I thought I was going to have to basically continue to get paid through CDL school. That was about $4,000 that just vanished right there in my plan. That was always a possibility that that could happen. I've mentioned it in previous videos that my manager might try to screw me over and not allow me to use the vacation on a resignation. He may make blah blah blah. He may make up some stupid excuse because he's a spiteful jackass. Um, Sorry about the language, but I really just don't like him. Um, it's not that I don't like him. It's just that like I don't like the way he treats me, and him personally. I don't really care about him personally. He matters nothing at all to me. It's just how he engages with me that I don't like, and how like he does his job I don't like. Things that affect me I don't like. Um, what else? So I sold a little over $4,000 in stock. So that was basically that makes up for the 4 weeks of vacation I lost out on. Another thing that I did was I have some assets that I can liquidate to to help me out through this transition, and I've gone ahead and liquidated one of those assets. That was a motorcycle that I had. I had a 2014 uh, Kawasaki ZX6R. It's otherwise known as a Ninja 636. It was in like perfect condition. It had been I hadn't driven it in almost 2 years, so it had been sitting in the garage for almost 2 years. And I called up a dealership, House of Kawasaki here in Oklahoma City, and I was like, "Hey, do you buy bikes? Not a trade-in, but just like buy bikes." And they said, "Yeah, absolutely, we buy bikes, but we're not buying them right now because it's the slow period in motorcycles. People don't buy motorcycles in the winter." He said that in the spring, when people start buying bikes, he's definitely like on board. He'd love to buy my bike then. I was like, all right, cool. So then I called up Ajax, which is another dealer in town, and I was like, hey, do you buy bikes? Not trade in, buy. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And so we got to talking. I told him what I had, and he said, all right, here's the price range I have on it, 2,500 to 4,000. I said, I'm not giving it away. I'll tell you right now that your high end on the 4,000, I really don't want to sell it for that cheap, but I know that I could sell it private party for five, maybe 6,000, but I don't really want to deal with a private party sale. So I got to talking with him on it, and I was like, I know that you guys have to make money off the bike, and all you can sell it for as a dealership is probably in the 6 to 7,000 range. So ideally, I would like to get 5,000 out of it, but just because it's easier to sell to a dealer, I don't really want to sell it for 4,000. But as long as you don't try to screw me over and try to haggle me down below 4,000, I'll be willing to sell it to you for 4,000. And he's like, all right, cool. Um, he didn't really believe me when I told him it was in perfect condition. It was in perfect condition, and I told him it had 7,000 miles on it. It actually only had 6,200. So I was like, well, I asked him what the turnaround on it was. I said, I'll probably have to schedule with a friend to come down there with me and drive me home. And he said the turnaround was like an hour tops. He said it would probably be less than an hour. An hour would be pushing it because he has to have his service guy do an inspection on it just to make sure that it like wasn't wrecked or there's not some crazy stuff wrong with it that he's going to find out later. So I was like, all right, cool. And I sat there and I thought, well, I'll deal, you know, I'll do this tomorrow or the next day or Saturday or something. Like, oh, actually, I asked him if he does purchases on Saturday, and he said no, he doesn't. It has to be Monday through Friday on a purchase like this. So I was like, all right, well, mm, I'll probably do it tomorrow because it was like I want to say 3 o'clock in the afternoon at this point, and they close at 6. And so I got off the phone with him and I started thinking, well, what the hell am I going to do the rest of the day? Might as well just get it done. So I went and I got all my motorcycle gear and put it together, and I went out and I tried to start the bike. I hadn't ridden the bike in so long that I forgot how to start the damn thing. I was turning it to the left. I was putting the key position to the left, and the lights weren't coming on. I was like, what the hell? Oh my god, don't tell me there's some problem with this thing. Ends up I was turning it the wrong direction. You have to turn it to the right. I thought you turned it to the light to the left to put it in a position to turn on, but it was to the right to turn on, and then you hit the starter and start up. But it fired right up. It had a really bad smell because it has old fuel in it. And I thought about filling up the tank on the way there, but I was like, you know what? They're not going to pay me any extra. And I'm just going to end up, it's not a lot of money. I mean, to fill up the tank on that thing's probably like $15, $20 or something. But I just went ahead and drove it there. It drove real weird. Like there were some bad things because it'd been sitting for so long. The front brake basically didn't work, and the tire pressure was low. I could feel the tire pressure being low. Um, I could feel that as soon as I got out on the street. And I thought about turning around and driving back into my house and doing some maintenance on it and just doing it, driving it to the dealership the next day. But then I was like, you know what? The tire pressure is not great, but it's enough that I can drive it there. And because the fuel is was old, the tire pressure was low, and then my front brake was like almost non-existent. I had to pull it all the way down before the brake would engage, but the brake would engage, and the rear brake fully worked. So I sat there and thought for a second, and I was like, I'm just driving it to the dealership. This is gonna be the last time I ever drive it. I'm already geared up. I'm already on the bike. I'm just, I was really kind of looking forward to getting out there and enjoying driving the bike one last time, but I wasn't able to do that. I just decided to go ahead and just baby it into the dealership, and I had to drive all the way across town. And I left at about 4 o'clock. Traffic at 4 o'clock usually isn't that bad, and it was bumper to bumper, stop and go all the damn way to the dealership. Sorry for the language. It sucked, and I had people doing stupid crap around me. For the most part, like it's just like anything. Like 90% of the people are decent. It's just the 10% that just they seem to represent everybody. And for the most part, everybody was being really nice and safe around me. It was really scary the way people were cutting me off without my front brake really fully working. I was questioning driving like, but I had already like I was already in like I had to finish at that point. Like I was already out on the interstate, man. I was 5 miles into the trip, so I was able to make it to the dealership without issue. I didn't have any real close calls. I just had a couple of people just being stupid. I had a safe following distance of 100 feet in stop and go traffic. We're moving at like 15, 20 miles an hour, and I'm about I'm maintaining a safe following distance. But if you have a little bit of space in front of you, there's always going to be some idiot that's like, oh my god, a spot! I can pass a car over in that space, and that's what they were doing. They would, you know, for the most part, people weren't doing that. I just had a big open space in front of me, um, but occasionally I would have some idiot that would just jump over there and fly up on the bumper of the car in front of me and slam on his brakes and realize that my lane was not the lane that was moving the fastest. So then they would like run somebody off the road to get into the lane that was moving a little bit faster. It's just dumbasses. Man, the language. It's like the third time. Sorry about the language. Um, but I got it there. The guy that I worked with on the deal ended up not being a jerk. The anytime you're dealing with a salesman on a trade-in or a purchase or a sell, anything, they're a salesman. And I fully expected that he was going to be like, well, your tires aren't brand new, so I can't give you the full 4,000, and we're going to have to knock off $300 for the tires. And yeah, your front brake is not full pressure, and that's we're going to have to do something on that. And I thought he would nickel and dime the 4,000 down and try to get it as low as he possibly could. I let him know up front though that I was like 4,000 was like that was like my absolute lowest I would even consider. Like if he would have quoted me over the phone and told me that like 3,500 was as high as he could possibly go, there's no way I would have gone down there. The only way I would do the trade in, I told him that I I don't feel good about selling it for 4,000. I said for anything less than 4,000, I'm just gonna like I'll give it to somebody. I don't want to give this thing to a dealer. um, but he told me that yeah, he would definitely be able to give me the full 4,000 for it because it was in like premium mint condition, and I had some aftermarket, things on it to improve some things, and I had clean title, like everything was perfect. It was except for the fuel and the low tire pressure, and he pointed out the brake pressure on the front, and I'd already told him that it had been sitting in the garage for like 2 years, and I told him that the fuel was old, and I told him that I thought about filling it up on the way in, but I decided not to, and I said that I would not recommend running it for very long on the fuel that's in it. And his mechanic said that the tire pressure, or the not the tire pressure, but the brake pressure on the front brake was probably due to it setting for so long. They just need to like drain the brake system and put new brake fluid in there because it's probably just a brake pressure issue. Because it's set for so long, and he was explaining something about the water and compression and stuff, and I was just like I zoned out and started like thinking about what I was going to eat tonight whenever he is doing that stuff. I'm not a mechanic. So the deal went through. I got the 4,000. He wrote me a check. Everything was good. We sat there and BS'd. Turns out his family owns like some farms and stuff, and he actually, we got to talking about truck driving and stuff. And he was like, "Well, I don't have a Class A license, but I drive truck because whenever you're doing like farm equipment stuff, you don't have to have a license, a Class A license to move your farm equipment around. So he has like a tractor trailer to haul hay and stuff like that." So we got to BSing about that while he was waiting on his mechanic to inspect the bike. And then I got an Uber to get back home. And God, we had like three close calls in the Uber because he was following way too damn close. He was following too close, and there were two different times that we came up on completely stopped traffic, and the person behind us, he had to basically lock up his brakes because he was following so close, and the person behind us at like almost rear-ended us. One time, the car behind us had to take the shoulder, and they ended up on the shoulder like parallel to us because they were tailgating too. It was really scary. Like at least three different occasions we almost got into an accident because he just it wasn't just him. It was a team effort. Like there's just a bunch of bad drivers, and he wasn't a very safe driver. He was tailgating and he wasn't whipping around through traffic or anything, but he was not maintaining a safe following distance, and he was coming up on, whenever he would come up on slower stop traffic, he would basically have to lock up his brakes. And then, whenever you have 10, I was about to use a vulgar word and I caught myself. Whenever you have 10 morons all in one small space and they're all tailgating, and then you hit stop traffic and you have to slam on your brakes, then it's just a luck factor at that point on whether or not somebody gets rear-ended. But luckily, we didn't get into an accident. So, like, as soon as I got in the house, I just walked upstairs and decided I would make a quick, well, quick, a video explaining what I did today. So basically, I already had enough money, even with the loss of the 4 weeks of vacation, even with like that $4,000 disappearing that I had planned on getting. I still had enough money, like setting in my checking account, not including all of my assets that I can liquidate and stocks and crap like that. I had enough money setting in my checking account to fully do my entire plan, like to cover me throughout CDL school and then the reduced pay that I'm going to receive when I'm training with USA Truck, and then to offset my bad weeks when I'm a company driver, and then also to cover my down payment and on my truck when I buy it in hopefully 3 to 6 months, and then to also cover. I'm expecting that there's going to be up somewhere between $500 and $2,000 in other expenses whenever I buy my own truck. So I'm expecting I'm going to have to put about $5,000 down on it, and like USA Truck is going to charge me to install a PeopleNet and a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm expecting is going to be in the $500 to $2,000 range. I have the money to cover all of that just setting in my checking account. But I got really scared and stressed out because I had a cushion of money in my checking account to cover all that, and my cushion disappeared. It got to the point where if anything unexpected happened, if instead of a $5,000 down payment, I needed a $7,500 down payment, or if I got out on the road and I wasn't controlling my spending as well as I plan on controlling my spending. If I am eating out too damn much and I end up spending a couple $1,000s living on the road, or whatever happens, like anything can happen. I was in a place where I didn't have much of a cushion. I still had a cushion, but not much of a cushion. I really liked having a big cushion. So now I just freed up. I liquidated $8,000 worth of stuff today, and all that's going into the checking account. So now I'm back up to a reasonable cushion, enough that I don't really have to like penny pinch. I can live my normal lifestyle and not have to worry about anything. I still have a couple other things that I can liquidate. The very, 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 very absolute last thing that I could liquidate is my 401k, and that would be an absolute emergency. Like if I was on the verge of bankruptcy type thing, that would be an absolute last resort. So hopefully it doesn't come to that. But the most terrifying thing to me right now is my time as a company driver. I want my time as a company driver to be as short as possible, because by my calculations, on a good week, I will make about what I was making with my previous company. The likelihood that I'm going to constantly have good weeks is just really unlikely. Now, I do have the potential to earn more per week than I was making with my previous company, but that's unlikely. If I run 2,800 miles a week, then I will make almost exactly what I was making with my previous company. If I do any less than that, then I make less. If I do any more, then I make more. Um, Based on, I've been trying to follow as many USA Truck people as I can on YouTube and various other places, anywhere I can find anybody posting like how many miles and how much they're making on USA Truck. And there's only one person I know of that's posting what they're making, and well, he doesn't give really like details, but he gives hints every now and then. Is somebody called Truck Hustlin' Rookie. Um, Everybody else has either quit or got fired from USA Truck. Like every person who YouTubes on USA Truck has either quit or got fired. Truck Hustlin' Rookie is the only YouTuber I know of that drives for USA Truck, and he really likes his home time, so he takes a lot of home time. And from what he says, he's getting a really solid 3,000 miles a week. If I can get 3,000 miles a week, I'll change the that's the dealership. That's not what I want. Um, where's Excel? There's Excel. All right. So let me find like what is this? What is this? Yeah, this is basically the breakdown in mileage. Um, so let's use this one down here to play with. Let's do 3,000 miles a week. Um, the 1120 a week is very close to what I'm making right now. I guess 3,000 miles a week would be closer to what I'm making right now because I'm making right at 65,000 a year. Um, I think I'll be good anywhere from 2,500 miles up. But what the hell at 2,500 miles, I forget what exactly their rate of pay is. Let's say it's because they have this ridiculous incentive performance pay that like I all right, I'm not going to rant on that again. I have other videos where I rant about how stupid it is to have performance pay on top of performance pay because paying by the mile is already performance pay. But at 2,500 miles, I think you make approximately 3 cents a mile less. 925. Man, that would be cutting it a little close. I might, maybe, because my monthly expenses, well, I just got rid of $100 a month monthly expense, which would be my motorcycle insurance. And that reminds me, I need to send an email to my insurance company and tell them to cancel my motorcycle insurance. I've already prepaid a year. It's good until like August of 2020. So I'll probably get $500 or $600 back on that. I'll see if I can get them to like just apply it to something else because I have my house and my car insured through them as well. Um, yeah, if I get down into the area of okay, so my monthly expenses are approximately $2,000. $2,000. So that's my mortgage is $1,000, my car payment's 500, so that's 1,500, and then insurance, electric, natural gas, water, sewage, trash. Water, sewage, trash is like all one bill. Um, Internet, basically every bill I have except fuel and food comes to roughly $2,000 a month. So that's 24 grand a year. And then I generally spend about $1,000 a month on food and fuel, and that's mainly food. I order Uber Eats all the time and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I can cut back on the food, and I can live off of about $50,000 a year. Well, no, wait. So I would have roughly, if I cut back, okay, if I don't cut back, I spend approximately $36,000 a year at $3,000 a month. Um, let's go back to something pretty. Hey. Um, so $36,000 a month, or a month. Those would be some bad expenses. So $36,000 a year or $3,000 per month is approximately what my current lifestyle is. If I change absolutely nothing in my current lifestyle, I keep spending about $800 a month in food and about $200 a month in fuel, and I keep my well, they're not exactly fixed. Electric and stuff fluctuates a little bit. But if I keep all those bills at roughly the same and I keep living the same lifestyle, um, that is, I would need to make about $50,000 a year to cover that. Because once you take out taxes, like the $36,000 a year is actual money. So if you only made $36,000 a year, once you took out taxes, I don't know what you maybe $25,000 to $28,000 a year would be what you would actually have in spendable money. So $50,000 a year would probably be what I would have to make to continue living my current lifestyle of $3,000 a month. But I have about $800 a month that I could probably cut the $1,000 a month down to maybe $300 or $400. So I can cut it down from $3,000 a month to maybe $2,300 or $2,400 a month. And let's see what 2,400 times 12 is. So that's 28,800 per year in expenses. So maybe I might be able to do that on $40,000 to $45,000 a year. Um, Basically, what it boils down to is, what would that be? Somewhere around $850 per week gross is what I need to make as a company driver before I have to start dipping into my funds. The reason, like, this whole big explanation on this has to do with the worst place that could drain my finances, my nest egg, my liquid money that I have available for this whole plan. The place that is most terrifying, where I can drain all of my money, is as a company driver if I am basically in the negative every week. So if I need to make, let's say, $1,000 a week to live the lifestyle that I'm living, if I'm making $900 a week and I'm having to dig into my savings to cover the additional, then if I am a company driver for 6 months, what is that? 6 times, well, 6 months, half a year. Let's do 26 weeks. 20. I don't even have to break out. I mean, there's some math I can do in my head. So at 26 weeks, if I'm just $100 off on my expenses as a company driver, like I'm making $100 less than I need for all of my outgoing, then I'm slowly going to whittle away, and over 26 weeks, that would be $2,600 of my money in the bank that would disappear. And so if it's $200 or $300 a week that I'm missing out on, then that can be really bad. It could get to the point where I drain my money to the point where, when it comes time that they say, yeah, all right, we'll let you come on as a lease driver now, I might not have enough money for a down payment if I have to be a company driver for too long and I'm constantly living in the negative. So I'm throughout this whole process, I have to keep track of my incoming and my outgoing and make sure that there's some parity there so that I can maintain a nest egg and have the money to do the down payment and pay for any other things. Like, one of the trucks I'm looking at buying is in Denver, Colorado. So these are just some of the potential unexpected expenses. If all I'm planning for is the $5,000 down payment, and let's say that I have to, like, fly to Denver to pick up a truck that I want to buy. Okay, well, I have to pay to fly there. Well, then I need to get that truck back over to a place where USA Truck runs freight. So I might have to drive it 800 miles. So I'd have to pay for 800 miles worth of fuel. So 800, let's say I'm getting 7 miles to the gallon, 800 divided by 7, that'd be 114 gallons times 3 for $3 a gallon. That's $342 in fuel to get that truck from Denver to the nearest place that I can pick up a load with USA Truck. And USA Truck may actually make me bring it to one of their terminals in like Van Buren, Arkansas, to put signage on the truck and plates and whatever else. So I may like there are a lot of potential places where I would be spending money. And that's the reason I'm trying to have a lot extra. I don't just have like the exact amount of money that I'm going to need to do this. I have extra. So, and I'm hoping that I have enough extra because I know that there's going to be unexpected expenses. And I'm really hoping that while I'm a company driver, I'm just crushing it. Like, what is the potential that I could make as a company driver? If I do 600 miles a day, 6 days a week, that's 3,600 miles a week. Let's drop it down to 3,200s. 3,200 is a lot more realistic. 3,600 would be really, really hard to do with the way ELDs are, and that most of the runs with USA Truck, to my knowledge, are in the 500-mile range. To run a lot of miles in a week, you really kind of need big mileage runs because the time you spend loading and unloading and driving around doing all that stuff, it just eats up your clock. So, but if I'm able to do 3,200 miles a week, it's only like 1,280 a week. That's kind of crap. The ceiling on being a company driver at USA Truck is really low. Like, you cannot make a lot of money as a company driver at USA Truck. It's just they don't pay very well. Like, you really need to, like, let's see at 50 cents a mile. At 50 cents a mile, if you're running 3,200 miles a week, you're up in the 1,600 range. I still don't think that's very good money. $1,600 a week. That's not amazing. We'll flip back over to my chart. I've done an entire video on this, but at $1,600 a week, if you're running 3,200 miles, making 50 cents a mile, that's $83,000 a year. That's $18 an hour. I think $18 an hour is really, really bad. Now, this is based on a 70-hour week. So this is 40 hours of straight time and 30 hours of overtime at time and a half. But yeah, I've done an entire video on company driver pay and why I think it sucks. I mean, this is decent. I'm sure a lot of people would love to make this amount of money, but whenever I think about living out of the truck and working 70 hours a week to make this amount of money, it just kind of depresses me. This is about what I made last time I was a company driver. I was making, I think, it was either 42 or 44 cents a mile. I think I was making 44 cents a mile, and I was averaging 4,000 miles a week. This was prior to ELDs, and I was lying like crazy on my logs. But I was making about $90,000 a year. I had single week paychecks. My biggest single week paycheck was with this company, and it was $7,000 gross. I think my bring home was around somewhere 4,000, 4,200 was my after tax amount on that check. But the gross paycheck was over $7,000. But I think that was like a couple of weeks that it just so happened the way that the trip turn-ins happened, I think I had a couple of big trips on, like, it's basically 2 weeks in a single check, and I might have had some reimbursements on it. I don't know. I don't remember how in the hell that check got so big. I just remember a $7,000 1 week paycheck. um, there were a lot of weeks where I got like over $3,000 gross paychecks because there's almost always a trip that rolls over into another week, and then of course you're going to have either, whenever you have a trip from another week roll into a week, then the week before or after where that trip came from is going to be a low check. So like I was probably averaging, what was that, 1760 a week. But I had $800 weeks, and then I had $3,200 weeks. I didn't try to have a steady weekly paycheck. I didn't, tell my dispatcher to, oh, we're getting toward the end of pay period. Give me a short run that I can squeeze onto this check. I didn't live paycheck to paycheck like that. I wanted the best mileage runs I could get to make the most that I could. And that's the way I plan on going back into it this time. Is I'm not gonna like try to survive on a weekly basis. I'm gonna get the best runs I can possibly get, and over time I'm going to make more money than somebody that's focused on living week to week. But we're over 40 minutes now. I think I'm going to go downstairs and stare into the fridge and see what I got in there. I need to stop buying food and just live off what I have, so that after this month of CDL school is over with, um, I'm not going to have a ton of food in the fridge that I have to throw out whenever I leave for USA Truck. So I've got to survive on what I have in the fridge. And then once that's gone, then I can do other stuff. I can live off Uber Eats or something. Who knows? But for the bot that watches my videos, thank you. Thank you. One of these days, I'm going to do a title. It is really obvious the way the titling and stuff works, the content that you're doing. If I put USA Truck in my title, that gets views. There are certain things that you can put in your title that will get you views. And I'm still not to the point where I want to bother with views yet. I really kind of like that there are only two things that watch my videos. One is a bot, a YouTube bot, I think, and the other one is Josh, that my coworker from my previous job that I'm in the process of quitting. Tomorrow's my last day. Um, Josh said that he watches my videos, which I I harassed him and joked around with him and ridiculed him. Like, why aren't you subscribed to me, man? And he subscribed because I guilt tripped him. I didn't think he'd actually watch the videos, but yeah, he said that he watches the videos. Not all of them, but he's been watching the more recent videos. When I was explaining my first few videos, where I was basically explaining why I was doing this, I've already told him all that crap like months before I made the videos. So he told me he skipped over those videos because he expected it was going to be the same crap that I already told him. I don't know if it was. Maybe I expanded on it in the videos, or like he and I will like go out on lunch and just walk around for like a half an hour on lunch, and I will tell him all the stuff that I'm doing and planning on doing. So I've been telling him about this for a very long time, a long time. But yeah, hey Josh, if you're watching the video, thanks for watching, man. Um, you might want to thumbs up a video occasionally. I don't have a single thumbs up or thumbs down on any video. I'll take a thumbs down at this point. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.